I just got off the phone with a beautiful, beautiful woman. She's a doctor and a therapist and an artist. And she shared the story of sending her beautiful baby off to college in Georgia. And he was very much in love. And an accident happened 18 years ago. He was arrested in Georgia and he was sent to prison. And he has not yet had a trial. 18 years. He's not gone before the judge. Welcome to the Dream is Love Conversations. Please send us your questions and we will answer them live. You can send those questions to thedreamislove@gmail.com. Let's talk. We as a body of humanity have found ourselves in a time of chaos, of struggle, of anxiety, fear, isolation, and depression. But this is a 3D consciousness. It is comprised of a lower density vibrational frequency because it operates in the third dimension, where we view things from a purely physical state and view ourselves as separate from others. We believe that we are in competition with others, and we operate from a concept of scarcity and victim consciousness. But we have moved out of that and into the fourth dimension, the 4D, where we begin to awaken to the understanding and the knowing that we are all connected, that there is more to life than what we can access physically, and that our thoughts and feelings impact our reality. We begin to understand that there is a greater purpose in life, and we search for something more meaningful than our materially based world. Okay, so we are laughing about the fact right now that I have not slept. I've had a sick dog, and I just said to Dr. Ivy, and of course we have Kaylah and Ivy back today. We have a whole lot to talk about, and I think we're still sort of thinking through what it is eloquently that we're trying to unfold and unravel. And I think most people in society are also, trying to navigate the emotionally the situation that we want to bring forth. But we were laughing because I said just now to both of them, my brain is fried. I'm so tired. You guys have to do all the talking. And Dr. Ivy said to me, don't you say my brain is fried. Now, this was one of the things that I actually wanted to bring up in the middle of the night when I wrote you guys, is because I remember Dr. Ivy speaking about the I am presence on the yesterday. And I started listening and laughing about the fact that I know that I am is the name of God, or the power of the divine in its most prominent, in its most, profound and elusive way. But it's also where all of the magic and miracle happen, right? Because the imprint of God that is inside of us, the energy of thought and word. Remember, she was speaking about the energy of thought and word. And I realized that every time we say I am, we invoke the I am presence of God, right? So in the burning of the bush, when Moses said, "Who are you?" and he said, "I am that I am that I am." And I
Yes.
started listening to how many times we call in the power, the greatest power of the universe, of all of creation, whenever we use the term I am. And even when we don't voice it, but we think it and feel it because we've been defined in a certain way by society, defined by our history, by our pain, by our trauma, by the narcissists in our lives, or by our small inner child's voice that never quite moved beyond that imprisonment. And I heard myself and I thought, whoa, Lord, I have said I am so many times in the last year, and I've created everything I've spoken, including when I said I am getting fat. I am going to stop saying I am unless I mean it.
Well,
So,
you mean it because the universe will support you, no matter what it is
absolutely.
that you're
Every time
saying.
we say I am, that's like rubbing the genie's belly.
I know it.
So, I am wise, I am healthy, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am prosperous. I am creative. I am divine. I am in love.
Woo.
And I am losing weight. I'm even anti-aging. How about y'all?
I am definitely that.
I am all of that. I am here. I am present. I am art.
Strong, I am healed, I am full, I am complete, I am at peace, I am love.
Oh, I am oneness. I am consciousness. I am a mother. I am the earth mother. I'm the divine feminine. I am free.
I am that I am.
Ooh.
Kaylah,
Ooh.
go ahead on.
I am in the presence of beauty, and I am beauty also. I am powerful, I am focused, I am successful, I am joyful, I am loving, I am.
Ooh, I am peace and I am shalom. I love that you said I am here.
I am here.
Brings us into the present, and I'm so happy to be brought into the present, because when I am in this third dimensional mindset and I'm not operating on the fourth and fifth, I'm not present. Whenever I'm feeling down and depressed, I'm thinking about the past, and whenever I'm feeling anxious, I'm worried about the future. But just being able to say I am here roots us right here in the now. And in the now, we've been having some pretty extraordinary conversations between the three of us, and they are microcosms of a macrocosm. We've been bearing witness to social injustice. We've been bearing witness to sexual perversion and human trafficking and domestic violence and racism and sexism and white collar crime, and we're seeing that money and power and the judicial system are really not in alignment.
Yeah.
So we are watching criminals go free. Realizing that there's nothing we can do about it, but we have men and women in prison for life because their third strike was selling marijuana, which is now making trillions and trillions of dollars for our state. Those cases aren't coming back. We have people that have been in prison without sitting before a judge.
Or how about sitting before a judge and then they completely disregard the facts of the case? Because that's happened to me. I have witnessed that. I've saw my son stand there while this judge was clear that he had been drugged with psychotropic medication, didn't ask him about his state of mind, didn't care whether the evidence showed some sign of innocence or mistake. Not innocence, I would say it was an accident that occurred. But they didn't care anything about it. And they ignored all the facts. And matter of fact, they withheld facts intentionally, knowing what they were doing. And I found out that this is how they roll every day. This is why that courtroom was completely empty, and they were trying to figure out who me and my husband were in there, that because parents no longer even come to court when their children get caught in that particular county. They're so afraid.
Now, are these Black families we're talking about that don't show up to court? Because
Yes.
You're talking about, white Southern small town.
Yes. Yes. And actually 30 miles south of Macon, Georgia. And I'm talking about Black families, absolutely. And it was so sad to witness. As a matter of fact, it was so illegal that the actual hearing was not even on the official docket.
So how long has it been since they incarcerated your son without evidence, trial, court? How long has it been since, how long has it been he's been sitting there? 18 years without going to trial.
Without being called back to reverse an illegal plea.
Unbelievable.
And it's still open, and we are still waiting. And it's very, very powerful because I just always knew that this was going to be some kind of a serious breakthrough. And my son has always served as a door opener, as a creator, as a game changer. And so in this case, it just feels that way to me, because once they enter into that system, even a lawyer sometimes, unless you have plenty of money, you're trapped.
You're trapped. Kaylah, your thoughts? I see you. I see
I
the
think,
emotion on your
I mean,
face.
as I listen to, I think what's even, I mean, oftentimes I think, we wait on time. We wait on time to change. We wait on culture to shift. We wait on minds to open. And to think, you say 18 years, and to think where things were then and where things are now. And it's more closed, perhaps, more just the terrain of heart is really fighting right now. And now that's not even hiding it. I think when I look at kind of what's happening with Trump, looking at other cases, there's so many things happening that are so blatant, that are so in your face, that that is showing, not even showing you, but showing this time, are saying this is who you are, this is who we are, this is who America is. And that's something that I think has been really has been more than disheartening, but confusing and balancing, to just see how it's in your face and no apologies. Like the gaslighting is huge.
It's huge. And then I started thinking, when you said that, Kaylah, what it must have been like for my grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
their parents, to try
Mm-hmm.
to travel around. It was blatant in their face. And
Absolutely.
we have to listen to what they're saying. They're saying, we want that back again.
Mm-hmm.
We want America like that again. And what really concerns me about it is that America has become so much of a salad bowl that many people do not even understand the depth of what that really means. They have no idea what it feels like. I was trying to tell some folks here the other day, I met some white people. I forgot where I was. I don't know. But anyway, they were admiring something that I was doing. Oh, I can't remember, but they were saying something about living in America. And I was saying to them, I remember when I couldn't drink from the white water fountain. And I'm 68 years old. And they were shocked. They were like, oh, what? I said, did you know about the Green Book? They said, no, we didn't know anything about the Green Book. I said, if you didn't have that, you really couldn't travel on the highways of America.
Absolutely. And it didn't matter whether you were a celebrity, had wealth, if you were a blackface. When you look at Billie Holiday, I mean, Billie Holiday would perform to sold out shows all over the South, but they had to sleep on those buses because they could not stay, drink, or eat in any of the locations where they were performing. People don't even understand that when she wrote Strange Fruit, she wrote Strange Fruit because she's leaving these performances and driving down roads where young black men and boys were hanging off of trees. The strange fruit were our babies being lynched for nothing. You could look at a white woman the wrong way back then, and that was called eye rape. They were beating, killing, and imprisoning so many of our young boys for raping with their eyes, or they had a thought. And we were just speaking about this, the brilliance though of the soul and spirit of the African American and of the African period, that we are able to be the Nelson Mandelas behind Robben's Island, that we're able to be the Sam Cooke and his entire crew. They were arrested in Shreveport, Louisiana after a performance because they attempted to register in a not black only motel, and they were exhausted. And that's where he wrote A Change Gonna Come. A Change Gonna Come. Martin Luther King, and your son is in the same prison that Martin Luther King was in. we were discussing this. There are more faces and names and voices we couldn't possibly name of young Black innocent men and women behind bars. But we also need to take that from the third dimension where we are speaking on to what does that really mean? What do you think is the wisdom message, the ancient higher consciousness lesson?
Oh, that's a question.
That's a question, because I believe that there's something powerful and profound about why the Mandelas and the Kings and the Cooks and the nameless that look and birth and love and are within our culture community. I think there's a reason, and I think it's a high calling and a high purpose. What do you think?
You know, the first thought that came to me is that we people, the indigenous people on this globe, are responsible for pouring love, cosmic love, into the atmosphere. We were the most forgiving and understanding and willing people on the planet. And perhaps that is our goal, our responsibility. Our responsibility is to help all of humanity to remember that love is the way that we are to operate in existence. And it is very, very challenging, my sisters, to try to answer that question, because I believe that we have a spiritual power.
Absolutely.
That people of the lighter hue just do not have and do not understand.
So, are we saying that on a higher spiritual level, the innocent are incarcerated, but they're also incarcerated behind the same wall because they're the light in the darkness, and light has to go behind the wall?
I think so.
And if light has to go behind the wall, then light is going behind the wall to inspire, because there's not a soul outside of, psychopathology and extraordinary violent crimes, but there's a story with every single human being that's ever been incarcerated or in prison, in body, mind, spirit, and soul. But in prisons, there's a story, and there are stories that have not been told. There are stories of innocence, stories of abuse. There are more women incarcerated. I mean, I used to work in female prisons, and almost every woman behind bars who was in there for murder had murdered someone that either trafficked or abused them.
Yeah, or tried to kill them in some way.
Absolutely. But those are women of color behind those bars for long periods of time.
And they're just trying to protect themselves or their children or their families or their space. It's a pretty serious conversation that I do believe. Here's the thought that I had when I started witnessing how this injustice system in America is becoming more blatant in our eyes, that they're no longer afraid and they have no fear of any type of retribution. And as I'm watching this, I'm realizing right now there are over 2 million people, I think, in American prisons. And I just want to add maybe 10 people to each one. How many people is that? That's enough people to activate, to control the electorate.
Absolutely. Vote. Absolutely.
And nobody is galvanizing all of these people to have a voice, because not one conversation that I'm hearing in this electoral process where they're talking about the prison system. I don't hear them talking about the industrial prison system. I don't hear them talking about how can we compensate families who have been traumatized by this injustice system in America.
Prisons this is the slave trade all over again. It's free labor.
It's the new Jim Crow all over again. And I'm saying I started adding it up over the last 18 years, and I have spent almost $70,000 to take care of my son in prison. What about those people who have no money, no resources to be able to help their loved ones that are in the prison system. It is a major, I think it's the second largest, I think, what is number one? The pharmaceutical companies is number one. And then the prison industrial system is number two.
Mm. And it does have a lot to do, not just with resource, but our stories are unimportant because we're still considered a portion of a person. I was having, real issues as a woman. We're watching all of women's rights being revoked and reversed, and just like with the suffragettes, when we're dealing with women's rights and women's laws and suffragettes, Black women aren't even considered in the equation anyway. So when people are walking around with the pink pussy hats on, this is about white women fighting for justice and freedom, but Black women are very rarely included. The whole suffragette movement about the right to vote, you can only vote if you could own land, and it was illegal for Black people to own land. So that whole movement of the right to vote was only for white women anyway. But one of the things that's really bothering me lately, especially when we were watching, what's been going on with all of the sexual trauma and domestic violence and pedophilia and the Epsteins and the Weinsteins and blah, 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 bling, is that I think that the entire nation can name all 4 white girls or white women that went missing here or in another country, because they were more than what we used to call milk carton girls. They
Yeah.
became posters, documentaries, movies, headlining the news. I mean, God, the whole world is out there looking. And I'm not, of course, we want to go out there and look for any child that's missing. But do you realize just in 2022 alone, just 2022, 97,000 reported disappearances of African American girls?
In a,
In America.
oh, I had no idea about that.
7,000
Thousand.
reported disappearances of African American girls in 2022.
Oh, that's actually very unsettling, extremely frightening.
And the only time there's ever been a group that's put a voice out there that's tiny, the same with Native Americans. Where are the Native American missing and exploited women and girls? Our stories don't get told. Our children don't get searched for, and our sons and daughters don't get proper due process and judicial process to get out of prison for lesser crimes. This is really an embedded, and it's coming forth. This is what institutionalized racism actually looks like. So the fact that we believe Jim Crow's over, the fact that we believe we have all of these rights, the fact that we believe that the Constitution is actually being embraced, the fact that we demonize someone that gets on their knee and doesn't want to, that doesn't want to stand for the national anthem, and we know all of these things have occurred. And the same man that said, let's get that MNFer off the team and out of America is the man that's sitting, right now about to become the president of the United States again. It's not just about his 36 felonious, prosecution counts, because that means nothing compared to all of the rest of it. I mean, this is a family that has stolen millions from children with cancer. This is a pedophile. This is a convicted rapist. This is a thief. I mean,
A con artist.
Even at a fake university.
A fake university.
Yeah.
So what is happening, y'all? What is really going on? And nobody wants to talk about it. I try to at the grocery store, and they're like running because what are you running for? You better talk about this.
Yes, but what do you think is really going on? I mean, I'm hating it in the world, but I'm kind of loving it to what the truth is.
Well,
we've been waiting for this moment.
It's the breakthrough. It's the breakthrough moment.
This is the dimensional split. We're not even going to know that the split has occurred. There is that low vibration and that high vibration. People are waiting for the new earth, the new heaven. What does that mean? When is the light of the world coming? When is Jesus coming back? Well, this is a consciousness, and it's here.
A consciousness.
But remember, we live on different dimensions. There are different dimensions that we can't bear witness to. That split that's about to occur, this world is not even going to know. That's why they say there's going to be a reaping. People will turn around and go, where is everybody? We're basically still going to be there, but we're going to be in another dimension, on a higher frequency, because we're aware of what this all means. This is an unveiling and an unmasking. This is a schoolhouse. This is part of the matrix. And we are here, especially as the original people. We are here. We chose, our souls said, let us bleed out, let us die out, let us be raped, victimized, forgotten, dismembered. Because to call these souls out of that low frequency, low vibration by way of love, by way of love.
Way of love. And I really believe that is my soul destiny right now. It is like putting people in that space where you can see you and see God and see purpose and find a way. And see, sometimes we think it means a place to actually walk to, but it's really a place to consciously be in.
So maybe you're saying we're the mirror. Kaylah, what do you think?
You know, it's interesting because you said what your life purpose. Mine, I has honestly, it's become about building community. And I started writing a song a couple of years ago called "We Are What We Need," and it's right. And I have, it's been developing, and as this other film that I was working on is coming to a close, that song has been something that I'm like, oh, okay, I got to really wrap this up and put that in there, because I suppose it's inside of each other is where we begin. Inside of another, not inside of another is where we begin. I think that connection
That's fire.
It is. I mean, it's community. Because there's so much done to individualize us, right? And why? Because we're powerful when we come together. If we look at what our ancestors did do to fight what was going on, they came together, right? And so there's something in that, and we need to refine ourselves to be able to live with each other, to be able to be with each other, rather than, if you look at what's on the media from like the housewives and all of that, we glorify division, we glorify, women not getting along, and right, all the traits that make you unlivable with or all the traits that's in the music. We want independent women. We want all these things that make us unvillageable. And it's going to be that. It's going to be community. They even say when you are feeling like that, community and acceptance from community can at times reverse a lot of mental health issues, right? That can be the point that holds people together, that brings them back. And without that, there's a lot of mental health traits that appear, that begin to manifest. Or even the test where they took the rats and they put them in rat heaven, and they stopped going to the water that was full of drugs. So I think that it's community, and that's been my goal. Is how do we make ourselves able to have community? Like if I take apart all these religions that were, all of the religions are out there, but if you get down to the fine-tuned message, like take out all the names, all the stuff, the fine-tuned message there is giving you qualities to make you able to be with another, and be with another, and be with another. Rules of engagement, rules of carrying yourself, ways you speak to one another. Like all of those things are about refining your spirit to be able to be in community.
I love that. And community is, the foundation for society, for language, for art, for culture to be built upon. But there's also some deep legacy, the legacy that each of us come through the world and leave behind. When people say, oh, did you finish your race? What did they leave behind? The music, the art, the imprint, the politics, the structures, the intellect, the science, the revelations. It's what's left behind. It's the legacy of the experience. And all of our wisdom and experiences are so important, because whatever journey our souls take in this incarnation, whether it's through fires, whether it's through storms, whether it's being elevated on mountaintops, whether they're harsh lessons, or whether we have a light, innocent we leave something behind in the wisdom. And one of the greatest of those is art, is writing, and is music. I mean,
Ooh.
music is an undying legacy imprint where we can hear voices, hear souls of those that we've never met, but those experiences become fully embracive and they shift generations, right? So what about behind the wall, the art, the soul, the legacy that's being left by our sons and daughters who are imprisoned, who have been forgotten, who have become invisible to a society, and yet they're still writing, they're still painting, they're still voicing, they're still in an evolutionary process. Now, a judicial system, or even a racist judicial system, may shut the gate and lock the key and press them down in a photo album of time and say, on January 12th, 1927, this is what you did, which strips you of any rehabilitation or any growth process. The human soul is evolutionary. Every experience is supposed to lead us to a purpose and destiny. That system attempts to stop that. We're going to put a label on you and say, this is who you were at 21 and this is who you'll forever be. But you can't stop that soul, that voice, that art, that spirit from evolving, from sourcing, and from pouring seeds even outside of the gate. Because from what I've heard, Dr. Ivy's son was gifted with the exact same otherworldly gift of prophetic invocation, with voice, song, lyric, and has become one of the most profound poetic music poets, rappers, but music poets. He is bringing his soul, his case, his fears, his power. He's saying to the world that I am trapped physically, but my Mandela soul, my Jesus consciousness, my Sam Cooke, honey, is soaring. And I want to hear about that. I want to hear about that because that's community as well. That's building community within the prison, community within a community, and building legacy. We won't even be on the earth and his music will still be here.
Will still be here.
But they can't imprison him. Go.
You are just a poetic art just within yourself. Everything you said was so artistic, so beautifully woven together, that's so clear, and it's so inspiring the way that you share, because it made me go back to the fact that, okay, the power of the word, the power of intention. Because, when my son was incarcerated, he was in college. He was a late bloomer. He was 25 years old. I shouldn't say a late bloomer, but we were trying to get him into college ever since out of high school. And he was like, Mom, I want to live life, blah, blah. Okay. So he became so intense that I was like, oh man, I wish there was an adult group home that I could send him to and let them take care of him. And I'm going to tell you something. 5 days later, he was incarcerated. So my work around manifestation and intentional thought forms became very clear to me in that moment.
Very clear.
It's like, this is no joke, Ivy. If this is your work, this is what you want to do, then I will have to show you that what you're talking about is real.
And you wished it upon yourself because your child is a part of you.
Is a part of me. And then it came very clear. People kept saying, are you going to get him out? I'm saying, as soon as God says so, because I can't get in the way of his soul destiny. And the fact of the matter is, and I won't go deep into the story, but the point of this is, my son, once he got over his own trauma and really had therapy and treatment for PTSD as a result of his incarceration, he became the protector of children in the state of Georgia, incarcerated with adult men. And that was his thing. He was in school for early education. His work was always working with elementary school children. And these children, and I'm calling them children because they were 14, 15, 16, and 17, incarcerated with adult men, just sort of flocked around him. And he became the mentor. And of course, they called him the leader of a gang.
So this is what I mean when I say, do you think that there is purpose sometimes when light is dropped into darkness? I mean,
That's a perfect example of it.
absolutely, because our soul is eternal. We don't know how many lifetimes your son has traveled, but on this one, he chose to protect children. I wonder
And
what
never
the lifetime
once
before
asked
was.
me to get him out. He said he never asked me to get him out.
Now you said you had something you want to share. I want his song to be an international hit. Um, so of course, I'm going to throw this, at you because I know that not only do you build community, and I mean that's such a huge calling. I'm saying not only do you, but of course you're also a filmmaker, and you had a great idea about, and Ivy has been attempting to get some type of film or something out for the last, I think, 10 years or so, probably more. And so, Kayla, as a filmmaker, as a young artist, recognizing that there's so many different art forms, so many beautiful, fertile trees being bloomed, in dark corners, behind walls, behind gates, songs, music, art, literature, poetry. What are your ideas about bringing those things into a project and bringing the art, the muses, the voices outside of the gates to the mainstream?
I think it's huge because they are creating a piece of the Bible for us. Those are, I mean, that is how it is. So that I can listen to that, and maybe there's wisdom in that experience, and it is an experience that we are having, that we as a collective are having. And you need to have these artwork pieces out there. You need to have it, and it's a bible of this time. It's how we can have Martin Luther King or all of those who have passed, and yet they are physically so here. I just did it was with base building for power. We did what we call the Junta Grande, and one of the things we opened with, that one of the young people, she was like, I want to open with the last speech that Martin Luther King gave, set to beats, right? in our that's in our consciousness now. Like, that's ours. We can use that. That's for the youth, that's for us, that's ours, these words. So we have to speak ourselves into existence again and again and again for each other. So even if they're incarcerated, they're contributing to the community. they
Absolutely.
are they are fleshing themselves outside of walls, right?
Absolutely. And there's a martyrdom there.
Mm-hmm.
I hate using that word, but without all of us having these different experiences, there will be no wisdom. There's nothing to pour into the next generation to go, what is this? Look what happened here, there, and thither.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you really look at it, I mean, gosh, we've had a long journey as African American people. We've had a long journey. But when you look at it in terms of, the length of time, America is a really new nation.
A very,
It's a
very
baby
pretty.
nation. Baby nation. We are an ancient people. We're an
Yes.
ancient people and a baby nation who started off as slaves. We're not allowed to be educated. We're not allowed to own property. We're not allowed to vote. We're not allowed to live here. We're not allowed to go to school here. We're not allowed to eat here or drink water here. You're not
Or
allowed to
have
do this
food.
job or this position, or have enough resource for education, and we're going to throw you in prison anytime. And yet we became president. And
But you know
yet
what's even
you're not. I mean, think about this. Think about who we are as a people. You're not allowed in the country club, but we're the greatest tennis players that ever played. You're not allowed on the golf course, but we're the greatest golfers that ever played. You're not allowed to change laws, but we have the Congressional Black Caucus, the Senate.
the beauty of being on that outside. Like, and it's not even because, really, I think, even to look at it even deeper, to be on the outside, we've always been seers, right? And so before the slavery fell upon us, we were of spirit, and we know that we were spiritual people because what were the stories that our ancestors resonated to? What were the songs that were written, right? If you listen to the spirituals, I look at that as a as a picture of who we were. We resonated to stories that were us. We resonated to stories that reflected what we came from, reflected how we thought. you
And
know.
so brilliant. We're so brilliant that you're talking about a continent with a million different languages. And those get mixed up in slavery on purpose to make sure no one is, and yet we had the wisdom in the midst of being, in the midst of being watched in every moment, to be able to recognize they want our spirituals. They want to hear us sing. They want us to tap dance for them. So we're wise enough to go, all right, we're going to tap dance for you. While we're doing that, we're going to paint maps of exit. We're going to create weight in the water, and we're going to find ways to get to the Underground Railroad and pass that all across the South to free all of these people while they're singing the song and going, oh, listen to them. And we have already planned a roadmap of our freedom, and we're singing it right in front of your faces without proper education. This is the spirit. This is ancient wisdom. This is the soul that says we're going to survive. Go ahead, Ivy.
Oh my God. And I'm thinking about, when you said that, Piper, I thought about the power of the woman, the Black woman, and how in slavery they understood that if they could threaten or charge the Black woman with the responsibility of holding the entire village up, that it is our responsibility to make sure that our young men don't try to kill them, in slavery. They were afraid. And so now when I think about the incarcerated and the mothers that are holding this heart, this heavy heart of trying to figure out, how do we get past this without really, you got to have the money in order to facilitate this injustice system. And I think that was the same during slavery. Those that had more resources were able to accomplish more. In doing this work, I think you were talking about the film that I had been working on. I think it's been maybe 7 years now, 7 or 8 years that I've been working on this film. And every time I get like a mile, I have to sit down and rest for weeks and months, and maybe a couple of times a whole year, because of the trauma, because of the stress. And when everything you're talking about, and I think that Kaylah even talked about the womb, how it starts in the womb. We get our life in the womb. Oh my God. So that's perfect, because I think I found what I would like to share with you guys.
Okay.
Now,
and while you're pulling that out, one of the things that I was bearing witness to just now from listening is what this all means in the fifth dimension, in the fourth and fifth dimension. I'm always pulling us back to this place of truth outside of this world. Yeah. And you know what I saw? Besides the fact, of Eve, of the oldest bones being that of the African, what I just saw is how beautiful we are. We are the mothers of the world, because even in slavery, we held white babies to our breasts.
Oh, yeah.
Our babies from us, we nursed and nurtured their children into strength. We did that all the way through the Jim Crow South. We were the mothers, the compassion, the comfort, the food, the wisdom, the sit on my knee, the stories, the tuck in bed, the bath time, and the breast milk. And this shows the beauty and the strength. And this is an other dimensional love and compassion for life. How many stories did you hear about slave women saying, well, this is it. I'm going to smother the baby. I'm going to put a poison in the bottle. No. So in the fifth generation, I love that we are authorized to be the divine feminine, the great mother, the great wisdom. We spread our thighs and spread our arms, as wide as the sky, as wide as the ocean, and we have mothered nations, even though our babies have been stolen from us, and our men have beaten us.
Wow.
Yet we still birth life, birth love, make love, give love. We are love. So
we are love. And I go back to it. That is the answer. How do we define love? How do we define love?
We're it. That's why we're on the planet. That's our spiritual gift.
That is it. We are love. Wow. Yeah.
Well, let us say goodbye to the show.
Bye, show.
Say goodbye to the show. Hi, Joseph. We're ending the podcast. We want to just kiss everyone out there, and we will show Ivy's film. We'll talk about the music. We'll have this conversation further. And right now we're going to have a conversation with our brother Joseph. And we love you, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
gate.